Hi friends, this is Lauren Taylor. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today. For today's YouTube hop, we are celebrating Trinity Stamps' new release for today. There are lots of fun new dies and some re-release stamps that I'm super excited about, like this Dust Bunnies stamp set and coordinating dies. I'm going to use it on today's card along with the Retro Diamond Pattern 6x9 layering stencil set. Now, I had never used this stencil set before, so I kind of had to learn as I went for this card. I was not too worried. I thought, oh, an Argyle print, super easy, I can do this. And then I got kind of confused, but I will show you how I use this layering set to create my wallpaper background for the scene that I'm making with the Dust Bunnies stamp set. So I have my waffle flower grip mat and stencil mat, and I'm making sure that my stencil is secured on top of my white cardstock panel and onto the grip mat as well. I'm trying to decide how many colors I'm going to use, and I decided on three. I'm going to use Salvaged Patina, Peacock Feathers, and Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxides for my wallpaper scene. So I'm starting with the striped stencil, and I'm using Salvage Patina, and I have it going from the bottom left to the upper right. So I will go ahead and add Salvage Patina through all of those stripes across my white panel. Takes a little time. I definitely need to get a re-anchor for my Salvage Patina. It's getting a little dry. I peeled that off and I set it aside. Next, I'm grabbing one of the diamond stencils and I'm lining it up with the stripes that I already colored in, and I'm going to grab peacock feathers. I'm using my little blending buddies that I have for oxides. You can see my little gray sticker on top. And I went ahead and added all of those diamonds in peacock feathers. This is when I realized that was going to have some white diamonds and I didn't want that. So I brought in that striped stencil and I just rotated it or flipped it so these stripes were going in the opposite direction, and I added more Salvage Patina. And I really like how they overlapped. And then with the final stencil, I colored in with Uncharted Mariner, and I created a really fun Argyle pattern that is going to be the wallpaper for my card. Next, I'm stamping quite a few images from the Dust Bunny stamp set. I'm going to use my ink on 3 Blackout ink since it's a hybrid detail ink that I can use with my Olo markers. I did stamp my sentiment twice. I wasn't really sure how the die was going to cut out the dust and the for you, so I wanted to stamp them separately just in case I would get ink in a spot I didn't want, or it would cut out my sentiment kind of wonky. So I just didn't want to risk, because I was going to kind of offset my sentiment from the actual stamp where the for you fits perfectly under the dust. You'll see at the end of the video that I kind of off center my sentiment. So once everything is stamped and good to go, I'll zoom in here and I'm going to use my Olo markers to color them in. So I'm starting with kind of a red gray color. I wanted my dust bunnies to look a little kind of brown and dirty. So I'm using RG5 as the darkest color, and I'm just kind of going randomly to add shadow on my image. And then I brought in RG3 to fully color in the dusty fur of my bunny. And I know it looks kind of funky right now, but as the RG3 dries, it will look more red, if that makes sense. You'll see as the coloring goes on. It will look better, I promise. And then I'll bring in that RG5 again, and I'm going to add stippling all around my bunny. I just really wanted it to give a kind of dusty, dust bunny look. I also color in the hands, feet, and ears with the RG5, and I will bring in a darker RG to add a little bit of shadow to those pieces, and that will be RG6. And then that will finish off kind of the furry part of our bunny. I did go out of the lines a couple times, but I'll show you how I'll fix that. I brought in R0.3 to color in the nose, tongue, and cheeks of my little rabbit. And here you can see my white gel pen. I'm using a size 10, and I'm just going over where I accidentally colored out of the lines, but also to add some little white dots right on the cheeks and then just randomly around my little rabbit. I will color in the other two dust bunnies the same exact way. So let's go ahead and move on to the next image. I'm using RVs 0.2 and 0.1 to color in the adorable bunny slippers. That's another reason why I love this stamp set. I just thought that was so funny to have a pair of bunny slippers, and of course I just had to make them pink. For the wood of my bed, I'm using OR color. So the darkest color is OR 7.6. And I am kind of just going from the top and bottom of the bedpost. I don't really have a light source on my card, so I'm just putting where I think the darkest color would be. And then I'm taking OR 7.4 and fully coloring in the bedpost. So to really kind of blend out those colors. I think the wood grain detail in the stamp set already gives it a lot of, unique look to it, and you don't really need to do a ton of shading. I brought in my retro diamond pattern that I stencil, which again will be the wallpaper for my card to give me inspiration for selecting colors for my bed. So I did BGO 0.7 and 0.4 to color the blanket on my bed. And then I will grab a really light gray color, CG1, and I'm going to use that to color my bedspread. And I'm just going from the bottom and flicking the color up because I wanted it to look like it was a white bedspread, and so this is just shadow. And then I have CG3, and I'm going to color the stripes of my pillow like every other. So one I'll just leave white as is, and then the other stripes are that darker gray. For the sheet and the pillowcase, I'm going to use BG 2.3 and 2.1 to color those in. Again, just trying to match the colors of my wallpaper. So this person who has these dust bunnies at least has a very coordinated interior design of their house. For the word dust, I'm using BG 7.6 and 7.3 to color them in, trying to give it kind of like an ombre look where the darker color is on the bottom. After that, I will grab the coordinating dies and I will cut all of these out. And I kind of forgot that I turned off my camera to cut out these images, and then I started assembling my card and forgot to hit record. So I'm going to talk you through it. So I cut my stenciled panel down with the clean cut rectangles, and then I also cut a wood grain piece of cardstock, and I added a little bit of vintage photo distress oxide just to give it some shadow. I glued my sleeping bunny directly to the card, and I popped up everything else. The sentiment is also glued down, as well as some of these wintry white sparkle rhinestones. I just really love how this card turned out. I know you guys could probably look at the photos and kind of figure out my layout, but like I said, my sleeping bunny and my sentiment are glued down. My bed and my bunny on the bed, as well as the slippers, are popped up with a 1mm foam, and my little sneezing bunny is popped up with a 2mm foam. But I hope you had fun watching this video and learning with me, and you're excited for the release. Make sure you check my description box for all the details of today's hop and giveaway, and let me know what you're most excited for in the release in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!